Hi, this is Nahka-Sami from Tyrantti. You're watching GRIMM TV.
Nice to meet you today.
Likewise.
First of all, how are you doing?
I'm great. Just a bit tired. This is the week we're gonna release the album, so doing a lot of interviews. We're releasing it on our own label, which means that I've been mailing CDs to record stores and all that stuff that I never thought was such a big deal when a previous label was doing it and taking their 50% cut. But now I miss them. But otherwise, I'm great.
Good to hear. I've seen that you had like a quite good year with Tyrantti, especially that one show that is probably in your books as one of the most epic one.
Oh, yeah.
At Hellsinki Metal.
Yeah.
That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, you ended up besides the corpse paint, you ended up bringing the wrestling guys on stage.
Yes, we did. That was quite an adventure. I mean, I guess when you get an idea like that, you just have to execute it. You just have to do it, and that was one of those things. And now that we've done it, I'm really glad we took it on video with 7 cameras. So and we could release it as a live video on YouTube, and which will forever remind me of how scared I was when I knew I was playing bass and singing and kind of focused on performing and being able to do that, while in the corner of my eye I could all the time see that somebody is getting kicked in the ass. Like this, there are actually like 3 wrestlers on stage that might hit me at any time, and it will really hurt. But they didn't hit me. They just hit Cobra, our keyboard player, who happens to also be a wrestler. So he was prepared, and in the end that was one of those nights to remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. So it looked just really cool, and like it was the right place to do it. I mean, you got a pretty big stage, and
it was awesome. Like Hellsinki Metal Festival, it's a great festival, and even though we played the third stage was still Hellsinki Ice Hall, which is
arena size stage, basically.
Arena size stage, and originally the idea came from when we were booked to the festival. We knew that there will be a couple of melodic metal bands or power metal bands like Doro and Avantasia and Hammerfall, but most of the lineup is extreme metal. And especially on the stage that we played on, I think every single band on that day was black metal or some subgenre of extreme metal. And we were really like the only ones with clean vocals, and also that's obviously when we got the idea, like we can't just do a normal show, especially as it's our only festival show in Helsinki that summer, and our only show in a long time in Helsinki. So hence the corpse paint that we had on our faces, just to like, it's not to ridicule any black metal bands. It's more like to ridicule the promoter for putting us on that stage. No, I mean, it's just he really liked the gesture and like kind of got it, like why we did that. We also redesigned our logo to look more badass, and when we'd done that, like we didn't make a scene out of it. Like we just played a normal show. We just happened to look different. But when we were doing the quartz paint, the makeup artist actually asked me, like, so what do you want in your face? And I was like, well, there is one guy who sings like me, or a bit better, but like has a similar style of singing and does this style. And then I showed her a picture of King Diamond, and there we went. So it was a tribute in that sense. It wasn't just fun. And then obviously, the wrestling thing, that idea came when we were shooting a music video for Liha Matto on the first single of this album. And on the music video, we had wrestlers from FCF wrestling, and then we just had to do that live. And it might not be the last time we do it, but if we do it, it will have to be something special, something even bigger.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Like, it looked like so much fun. I wanna experience it myself. So I was gonna ask if you were gonna do it again.
Well, I'll never say never, but we've had discussions about it. We can't do it on every show, but
yeah, of course.
But like when you make stunts like that, I guess the crowd will start kind of anticipating something like that.
At least hoping again. For it.
Hoping that something will happen, not just a normal show.
Yeah, because those things are so memorable that like it sticks really with people, and years later they still talk about it. So when they then see your band again on like a lineup of the same festival or something, they start wondering, what are they gonna do this time? Yeah. I remember all the conversations about, for instance, Children of Bodom at Tuska.
Yeah.
Because one time they did like barbecue on stage, and it's like, what are they gonna do next time? So it's a cool thing, and like I said, it just makes it so much more memorable. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people that saw you on that festival that's one of the shows that probably really stuck with them.
Yeah, that's at least that's what I hope, and even if people didn't like it, it doesn't really matter. We had a great time, and I know for sure that some hardcore fans of ours had a really great time, especially because they didn't expect that. So for them that was something memorable. And next time they'll come to our show, it's gonna be the record release show in Helsinki. It's gonna happen next week with this filming, and then that's just going to be 90 minutes of metal, and some surprises, of course. But that's not going to be corpse paint or wrestling, but something different.
And like, while we're on the point of like just Tyrantti metal, for the people that like don't really know you or know you as a band, because there might be people ending up watching this that are not from Finland or don't follow the Finnish scene all that well. How like, what would you say Tyrantti is about as a band?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's heavy metal, but it's also having a great time. That's what it's about. And then if you come and see a show like that, then you'll probably end up listening to heavy metal and having a good time. So I guess for those people, it's like, even if it's not a normal traditional Tyrantti show, it's still going to be a show that gives the key idea of what we are about.
Yeah. What I recall of your shows is it's like heavy metal with a high degree of like kind of punk energy almost. Like there's that like kind of just you're throwing your all at it usually every show. So that's always pretty cool. But I agree when you listen to your music, even if you don't understand any of the songs, it makes you want to listen to heavy metal. Because like I listened to it today, like in preparation of this. And I was like, ooh, this sounds a bit like maybe Priest, or this sounds a bit like in the direction of what Ozzy did in solo stuff, and this made me think of like, maybe I want to listen to some heavy metal just. Which is an interesting effect to experience, because usually I listen also more to like extreme metal and such. So it works.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, and like my taste in music definitely isn't just traditional heavy metal, not at all. But do I want to perform traditional heavy metal? Definitely. That's the most fun way to sing music, or play, or to perform. It just has those elements that I love, and one of them is positivity. And then, especially as going to metal shows, I'm a big fan of prog metal, and like bands like Leprous or so on, and the fact that those shows are really serious and they're highlighting musicianship in a way that is quite the opposite of what we do. And it doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong. They're just doing it in their own way and doing it the best way they can, which suits their music.
Yeah.
But when I watch those shows, I enjoy the music. I want to close my eyes and just, kind of take it in and enjoy it. But that's not how I want to perform music.
Yeah.
And obviously, growing up with bands like Judas Priest or Iron Maiden, I've grown to watch live shows that are full of energy. And that's why it was obvious to us that when we start playing live shows, they're going to be as energetic as possible.
Yeah. Well, now you're like you said, you're about to release your new album. It's already album number 3, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing it's a redundant question that you're kind of looking forward to it being out in the world.
Definitely.
I don't know how did you get to putting the record together? Did go pretty smooth? Have you been working for a long time on the music, or?
Well, the latest record we released, the second album, came out almost 4 years ago, which means that it was quite a while since then. And different projects in life. But we've also been playing shows regularly, which means that we haven't had that sort of period of time to just songwriting, which means that we kind of at some point just had to decide that now we're gonna start making music, and now we're gonna release an album. And in the end, it all came together quite fast. But the direction where we were set to go wasn't obvious all the time. Actually, after the second album, Orjaplaneetta, we felt like we could explore AOR sounds and progressive rock a little bit more, and kind of go in the direction of AOR and hard rock and that type of music, which is music that all the three of us love. But in the end, when years passed, I guess the world just kind of sucked us down in a downward spiral where it's been going, and we ended up recording and releasing the darkest album that we've ever had done. And even if you don't understand the lyrics, you probably hear from the music that it's heavier and it's more straightforward than before. And it's because even though we always wanted Tyrantti to be a positive band in a sense of being partly about having a good time, having fun, when the world is going down the toilet, it doesn't. It can't help it, but it affects you. And when we are just people making music, it just kind of leaked in to our music.
Yeah.
And for instance, the first single we released, Lihaa Mattoon, was also the first song that we wrote for the new album. And basically the story behind that song is, or the lyrics are about when you just too stressed and you basically lose it, and how that feels like, and how hopeless that situation is when you feel like that. And that was a message that all the three of us could relate to and could sign. But being Tyrantti, we naturally had to have Tyrantti element to it, which is why we combined it with a metaphor of when everything goes to shit, you just wrestle it. You just and meaning the music video is that all the three of us playing that song, singing about losing it, while everything around us is violence, because that's how it might feel like sometimes. Okay, when we wrote that song, released it, got actually pretty good feedback in the sense that we were afraid that this might be too serious of a topic for a band like ours. We decided that we can go full on, and the whole album can be that way.
Yeah.
And it is perhaps except for the fourth single release, which comes out with the album with a music video, Miestä vahvempaa, which is basically a drinking song. But it's also a drinking song with a twist, so there's always a...
Yeah, I feel like, in a sense, as a heavy metal band, you can go pretty dark if you still have that like original twist to it, or sometimes even dark songs can be like a positive light in some listener's life, for instance. So I feel like going dark in like topics doesn't necessarily mean that the song is going to be like too dark for your band. Like,
at least I hope so. And even if it is, then maybe somebody who's not a listener yet will find the band in that sense. There's always, we're primarily playing to a Finnish audience, which means that the lyrics have a weight there, because it's people understand their native language better. And that's why we are interested in hearing comments about the album around here. But when it comes to non-Finnish speaking audiences, instrumentally this album is the strongest of what we've done yet. Especially the guitar work by Henkka is phenomenal in my humble opinion, and then what he's done with the solos and the harmonies is just out of this world. And then we have double bass drums for the first time in the band's history, and not by coincidence. Like Paha Tapio, our drummer, moved to Norway, and when he came back to band practice, he wanted to play with double bass drum. So I don't know what they have in their drinking water over in Norway, but probably ashes of burnt churches. So it's gonna be. I mean, I like the album.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Like, your music before was already quite like driving, like kind of high energy and like driving like forwards. And this album, like I feel like I've enjoyed your music before, but on this album it really like kind of gives you like sort of a boost, like proper like up-tempo heavy metal can like give you something when you listen to it. So it's probably through the double bass drum and through the guitar work and stuff. Yeah, I've really enjoyed like what you've done on the album.
Thank you.
And I hope there's a bunch of people picking up on it.
Me too.
Yeah. Because the fact that you're singing in all Finnish, like it's for me it's cool. Cause I'm used to Finnish around me by now, but I can imagine it would be sometimes a bit tricky for like people not understanding anything of it. But yeah, I think it's a pretty big step forward again for you guys. I was wondering, like of all the songs on the new album, like, is there like any that you're really like looking forward to like playing live?
Oh yeah, definitely the first and the last song. So the first song, Ihmispyramidi, the title track. Well, if we start a song with the meanest riff that we've ever had, with like pounding drums and then the falsetto that reaches the skies, I guess that gives it's a great way. That's gonna be the show opener, also.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way we want to introduce the shows to the people. Like the new album, like this is what it's gonna be like. Even though the whole album isn't that heavy, it's still. I'm looking forward to playing it live. And also the last song, Viimeinen portti. It's an epic song. It's almost 6 minutes long, but I feel like it has the best chorus of the whole album. It's really melodic. It's also heavy, and when we played it at practice, it felt amazing, really. And yeah, those two definitely.
Yeah, it makes sense that first song, like when I put the album on, first song plays and like it immediately pulled me in. So it's a good pick as a first song.
Yeah, cool.
So I can imagine if you play that live, that the crowd will go wild immediately.
That's what we aim for.
About that song specifically, like all of the vocals are by you.
Yeah.
Okay, like how tricky is it to go immediately from that like falsetto to that like kind of lower grunty voice almost? Because it's quite the...
Yeah. Well, the answer is yes. It is quite tricky. We well, in the studio, obviously you record them separately just to make sure that you catch your breath and you can go full on with every single vowel and every syllable of the word. But so we were a bit we weren't sure if it's gonna work live. But then when we started rehearsing it, it was like, wow, this is surprisingly easy. I mean, I've recorded all the singing myself, so I can do all those sounds.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if I could do them back to back, and if I could do them in such a fast pace. But actually, we already played one show live where we played that song as well, and it went smoothly. So.
Good to hear.
And it's good to play that one first. So when I still have my voice. So after 70 minutes of heavy metal, I might do a worse job with that one.
Yeah, because I know there's always a lot of people that are like super impressed when someone can do like super badass growls and then sing super clean, like really nice clean. But I can only imagine that is like a similar level of kind of difficulty.
Well, it could be. Technically, yeah, they're far apart, those sounds. But as you said, like some vocalists can do growls and then they can do high-pitched, clean vocals, like in the same song. Or
I guess you're just that talented.
I'm not that talented. I've just been doing this for a while, I guess, and well, you can come and witness us live and hear if it works or not. I'm just saying it works because that's my only option. If I would tell people in this interview that I can't do shit, then they wouldn't come. Anyway, but yeah, this is also the first album that I'm rolling on. So there's just the one part in one song, but that was also quite a surprise in the studio, and we felt like, hey, let's just like add this sound there, and like there you go. It sounded better on the album though, but yeah, it's like, okay, there it is. Oh, it sounds, yeah, we'll keep it. And then at band practice, I've been doing it and felt like, oh shit, should we do more of this? But at the same time knowing, like, it's just the fact that you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And if we would have more of that, that would destroy what this band is all about.
Yeah, and it would maybe take away from that one moment that you put it in there, because it's gonna be a nice surprise for the listener, or it's like if you do something constantly, it doesn't pack as much power.
Yeah.
So when you do it like every now and then it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it totally makes sense to just do it like one time or just a little bit here and there. All right. Well, again, lots of luck with the album. Hoping there's a lot of people picking up on it, especially since you have to put in that much more work doing it on your own label.
and money. But yeah.
It would be nice to at least see more people picking it up, like for all the effort you're putting in.
We've had encouraging pre-sales for the album, which is really great to know. We've been away for a while, like from recording at least, and yeah, I really hope that people will find it.
Yeah. Like you said, you're gonna do like a release show.
Yes.
Next week. Yeah, next week. Besides that, do you have like much on the
we're actually we're doing more live shows than we have before, at least in a faster pace. So I like this year, late this year alone, 2024. We're playing in Turku, Helsinki, Tampere, Kouvola, Lappeenranta, and Lahti. That's 6 shows in 3 weekends, and then in January we'll be back to doing smaller towns like Hämeenlinna for the first time, and Pori for the first time as a club show, and those I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Because those are the places where you get messages that you should come, you should go, come to Latin America. Well, not Latin America, just Pori. But that's good enough for us. I mean, there are people who've never witnessed us live, and at least not in a club setting, and we are planning to play the best show they've ever seen by us.
Yeah.
So.
And hopefully a bunch of festival shows as well then in the summer.
Yeah, we're playing Tuska, and we're playing Lankafest, we're playing Hyvinkää Rock. It's a new festival, and then should be fun.
Maybe to fill up the gap that Rockfest left.
I guess that's the plan they have.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to hear that. We'll see you a lot on the road as well. So yeah, again, lots of luck with everything. We'll see you around.
Yeah.
I think we're about there. So if there's anything at all that you would like to say to whoever ends up watching this,
now is the time.
Yeah.
Well, to whoever is watching this, behave. And listen to our new record, Ihmispyramidi, out now or next week or this week or whenever that is. It's 22nd of November. It'll be out on all streaming platforms and record stores. Finland-wide.
All right.
Shipping worldwide.
All right. Thanks for the talk.
Thank you. My pleasure.